Okay, last week I shared my thoughts on the Adobe Figma acquisition and why I actually predicted something like this would happen. And when you take a step back, these two companies aren't really that different from one another. They both use closed file formats and they both use pretty hard to understand pricing policies. Some would even call those pricing policies unfair. But what does it mean to you, a designer at the beginning of your journey? Should you abandon Figma right now? I don't think so. If you like Figma, continue working with it. Just remember to back up all your important files, and I made a video last week on exactly that. The acquisition itself is not until 2023. It also has to pass some regulators, and that might actually be pretty difficult because that basically, when you take a step back legally, looks a little bit like a monopoly, so it might not be even as easy for Adobe to acquire Figma. But let's assume that it all went through and it happened. Should you worry about Adobe Figma CC, increased prices and limited functionalities? No. I wouldn't also trust or believe a CEO that's saying that nothing is going to change after a $20 billion acquisition, because obviously it's all PR. But there is something called a grace period. It means that the CEO and the core team will have to remain at Adobe for a number of years. It's usually between 1 and 5, most likely it's gonna be between 2 and 3 years. That means that they'll have some form of control over the tool, and then after that Adobe takes over completely. That happened multiple times before, and we have no reason to believe it's not gonna happen now. So you are safe with Figma for at least a year or two more. What will happen after that? We don't know. And Adobe shareholders weren't too happy about this acquisition because this basically means that Adobe couldn't innovate their way into the top, so they had to pay for it. Obviously, those shareholders will want a return on the investment. They will push Adobe to maximize their profits as quickly as possible, and there will be some tensions between the core Figma team and the Adobe team to make it more profitable or to keep it as it is with the free plan and all the community stuff. But in a year or two, I believe we can safely bet on more changes to the free plan and to the pricing models. The good news is that at least for now, you can export Figma files to some other open formats. At least for as long as Adobe allows it. Because obviously, when they take over, they can completely block these exporting tools. So best to use them now and back up your projects. This year, I plan to explore all the alternatives, especially for Windows, because yeah, on Mac it's actually pretty obvious. I use Sketch and I love it. For Windows, there is penpot, lunacy, framer and a couple of other tools that I'll be exploring in more detail this year. I actually want more tools to be on the market, so I'm gonna help them to succeed. I'm gonna try to promote them, I'm gonna try to give them feedback on what to improve with their tools and basically push them forward, because the more tools we have, the bigger the competition, so everybody has to step up their game, and that will include Adobe Figma, because if they will have open source multi-platform competition in penpot or in lunacy, they won't be able to increase their prices as much. This is why I believe supporting these products is in the best interest of all designers. If you love Figma, continue working in it. But just in case, make yourself acquainted with Sketch, lunacy or penpot, because those tools are pretty similar. It's not that difficult to switch, and sure, lunacy and penpot are in their infancy and they're still pretty buggy sometimes, but remember that Figma was like that too at the beginning. It's all up to the community to help them grow, to push them further, to motivate them to fix the bugs and add new features. So do it. But most of all, don't be too stressed about the tools. You will have alternatives, so focus on doing your best work. And you know what? Have a beautiful day.